The first edition of Geometric Puzzle. Let's read the question. What is the area of the quarter circle? Pause the video here so you can take your time to answer the question. Now let's take a look at one method for solving for the area of the quarter circle. The first step is to label our triangle. We have a is equal to 4 and b is equal to 2. Our next step is to draw a line from the 90-degree angle to the tangential point created by the big circle and the line opposite the 90-degree angle. The new angle is also 90 degrees. Let's label that new line x. Since all these triangles are similar, we can set up a ratio. We have bigger leg over smaller leg for both triangles. Make sure that you don't use the hypotenuse. Now let's set up the ratios using the variables. We have a over x, which is equal to x over b, where a over x is the bigger triangle on the bottom left, and x over b is the smaller triangle on the top right. Now let's substitute the numbers. And now we have 4 over x, which is equal to x over 2. Let's cross multiply. And now we have x squared is equal to 8. Let's solve for x. X is equal to 2 square root of 2. What does x also represent? Let's take a look at that circle. The area of a circle is equal to pi r squared. Since we have a quarter circle, we know that x is also equal to the radius. Now let's substitute 2 square root of 2 into the formula. And now we have pi times 2 square root of 2 raised to the power of 2. And 2 square root of 2 raised to the power of 2 is 8. And now we have 8 pi. We found the area of the full circle. We only need a quarter of it. So let's divide by 4. Now that we have set that up, let's divide 8 pi by 4. And 8 pi divided by 4 is 2 pi. And that is the area of the quarter circle. Now let's take a look at method 2. The first few steps are the same, but the next ones are a little bit different. So let's go ahead and label the rest of the triangle, D and E. Since all three triangles that we're going to be talking about are right triangles, we can use the Pythagorean theorem to help us out. Now let's set up the first one. We have a squared plus x squared is equal to d squared, and that is the triangle on the bottom left. Let's substitute any numbers that we have for a, x, or d, and now we have 16 plus x squared is equal to d squared because 4 squared is 16. Now let's set up the second one, and we have b squared plus x squared is equal to e squared. Let's substitute any numbers that we have for b, x, or e, and now we have 4 plus x squared is equal to e squared because 2 squared is 4. Let's set up the third one, and we have d squared plus e squared is equal to 6 squared, and that represents the biggest triangle, where 6 is a plus b. Since we don't know d or e yet, let's go ahead and simplify 6 squared, which is 36, and now we have d squared plus e squared is equal to 36. Now we're going to rewrite the first two theorems so we can add them together. Why are we doing that? Well, the bottom left triangle and the top left triangle, when added together, equal the big triangle. So let's go ahead and do that. And now we have 20 plus 2x squared is equal to d squared plus e squared. We have seen d squared plus e squared before, and that is because we use those terms to write our third Pythagorean theorem. So d squared plus e squared is equal to 36. Let's substitute 36 into our added equation. Now we have 20 plus 2x squared is equal to 36. Let's subtract 20 on both sides, and now we have 2x squared is equal to 16. Let's divide both sides by 2, and now we have x squared is equal to 8. Let's square root both sides, and now we have x is equal to 2 square root of 2. What does x also represent? Well, x is also the radius of our quarter circle, and we define the area of that, so let's write down the area formula, which is pi times radius squared, and in this case we divide it by 4 since we want a fourth of it. We know r is equal to x, which is also equal to 2 square root of 2. Let's substitute that into the formula, and now we have pi times 2 square root of 2 raised to the power of 2 divided by 4. And 2 square root of 2 raised to the power of 2 is 8. Now we have 8 pi divided by 4, and the result of that is 2 pi. Those are two different ways to find the area of the quarter circle. If you know another, post it in the comments below. I want to thank Catriona Ag for the question and Matthew Arcus for the second method.